Hi, Rick for Edu Mobile. Now we've got a demo on sending data with the Segway. So we've got, again, a similar picture that we had with the last Segway demo. But in this case, we've got the button that is triggering this Segway. Here's our Segway. We can see that we have set an identifier on this. This is a very good idea to do. This can be anything, any string. So get in the habit of setting an identifier on your Segways. We have a text field here. A text field, when the user taps in the text field, will bring up a keyboard. And then the second view controller, we have a label. And whatever we type in the first view controller's text field, when we segue, the idea is it comes up in the label. And then we have a done button, which dismisses this view controller. All right, so let's look at the view controller, our first view controller. Here's my text field. There is an event that happens on a text field called did end on exit. And for that event, we want to wire that event up to this method to resign the first responder on the text field. The first responder on the text field is the keyboard. So this is how we make the keyboard go away on a text field. Now we have overridden the prepare for Segway with sender method, and we can see that the Segway is a UI storyboard Segway, and the sender is any object. The sender is any object because it could be any control that fired the Segway. So here I have some code to figure out if the sender is a button. Remember that the sender in this case is a button, but we don't have to cast it to a button. We can use the is operator to figure this out. Remember that we can't know, absolutely know, at compile time. This can only be figured out at runtime. Otherwise, the is operator, if it absolutely knows what the type of sender is, will give you an error at compile time. So if sender is UI button, we just want to print out button. It is, and we wouldn't have to do this normally. But we could determine maybe which button was pressed, which Segway we're dealing with, in the case that more than one control sends a Segway to the same view controller. We might want to do different things. The next thing we want to do, and we do always want to do this, is to cast the Segway to the type of the destination view controller. Now, destination view controller is second view controller. That's its type. Second view controller.swift. That class is the class, the type of the second view controller. So we've said let second VC. We can call this anything we want. Segway destination view controller as optional second view controller. And as optional is safe because this downcast might not always work. And then we want to set a property. Second view controller has a display text property. And again, we use this optional chaining to get here because we don't know if second view controller is nil or a real second view controller. So we set the display text property, and we'll see that when we look at second view controller, to whatever is in the text field's text property. And that's it. That's all we have to do on the sending view controller end. So now when we receive this, we need to do some other stuff. Remember that display text property here, and let's look at that in second view controller. Here's our display text property. It's a string, explicitly or implicitly unwrapped optional string. And then we have an IB outlet property, which is going to the label. Again, it's an implicitly unwrapped optional UI label. Done pressed, it just sends us back. It dismisses this view controller with a nil completion handler. Now, I'm using view will appear here instead of view did load. View will appear is going to be called every time the view is displayed, not just when it gets loaded into memory. So we use view will appear because we might click done, go back, change the text, click go, and come back to the second view controller. And the view has appeared again, and we set the label. So here we're setting the label text to display text. And that's it. That's all we need to do. So here we go. Let's try it. So now if we type go without a label text, because these are wrapped in optionals, there shouldn't be a big deal. And we see we have a label, but there's nothing in it. So we'll click Done. One thing to note is that it is indeed the button, not the view controller. So we'll click Done. And now let's just type something like hello and click Go. And now hello comes across and we get it in our text field and everything is good. So now you know how to pass data. You can pass multiple pieces of data, obviously, through a Segway. And in the assignments, I'll test your ability to come up with different ways to pass data through a Segway, especially in the later assignments. Thank you very much.